Greetings and salutations, this is Crom the Pale, and this is Day 1, 7 Days to Die tutorial for new players. For the purposes of this video, I've created a new world, a random seed, random gen, and I'm using all of the default settings with a few minor tweaks, and I talked about them in the other one. So this is a private world, single player, nobody else is involved. When you play single player, hitting escape brings up these three options, and it pauses the game. On a multiplayer server, the game will not pause. Time will continue to move forward. So as I just started the game, you can see I'm on day 1, 7:07 in the morning. The time ticked 7 minutes away as I was turning around, taking in where my game spawned me. Not the best of spawn locations, but not the worst either. Some people would say it is the best. It all depends on your personal choice. Now, the first thing I suggest you do before you start actually playing the game is hit pause, go into options, and check out the controls. Controls menus. So bringing up the map, press M. Quest is O, scoreboard is I, character is B, skills N, journal Y, and then creative menu U. Creative menu is currently disabled because I have cheats turned off. If I had cheat turned on, that would be active. So those are the main ones that you really want to take note of. Some people have problems with tab and escape because they get so used to closing out of everything with escape rather than pressing tab. You can change things, obviously, to whatever you want. This is the default setting, and I personally like them. So I'm going to go back. I should also mention, too, I'm using a very old computer, so I've got a custom quality, which basically means I've turned everything down to low or off because I cannot handle the high quality. My computer's just too darn old. If you have a brand new computer, like this computer's 10 years old, so if you have anything they made within the last 3 to 5 years, you're probably going to have settings set on high. If it's a brand new computer, you're going to go all the way up to ultra, and this game will look spectacular. As it is, even on all the low settings, I find it rather enjoyable at this point. Now, if I were streaming as opposed to recording, I could go into Twitch integration, log in, and apply, and that would give me a lot of options for allowing chat, my viewers, to participate in the game, which it's really a fun thing to do if you're in chat. It can be very frustrating as a streamer to constantly have the progress you made in the game crushed by people in chat sending zombies out to destroy you, or it can be kind of almost defeatist in a sense because they can also give you items, so you're struggling to find an item and suddenly chat just gives it to you, and it's like, oh well, thank you. But now I didn't get the joy of earning it. So it's a hit or miss. Some people love it, some people don't like it. I recommend if you are going to stream the game, try it at least once. It has a lot of customization settings, so you can really create a fun experience for chat, but you need to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So what I'm going to do is jump right back into the game now, and you'll see in the top right I've craft bedroll. That's a starting quest. It's a default quest the game automatically begins with. So to get plant fibers, I'm going to go over here and punch some grass. I'm not going to run through all of the default ones. I just wanted to go through a few things. So tab, you can see up here it's automatically at the top with the little exclamation mark. So I mouse click on it, craft a shortcut for W, so I just press W and it does that. It crafts up here, goes into my inventory. I can shift click and put things into my hotkey. I can then place it. Now before I place it, you can see it disappears a little bit because the placement's a little bit wonky. If I hold R, you see I have two options. I can rotate it or I can change shape. And what shape does as far as the bedroll is concerned is it just gives me color options. So I can make my bedroll a different color. Now another thing to note, you see the new icons that have popped up on screen. What these are indicating that I don't have to punch a tree to get wood. I can just hit this bush and that'll give me some wood. Also, for small stones, they're in the ground, you can just pick them up, and they count as full stones. I don't have to fist pump the rock to get that. So I'm going to quickly finish off these quests, and again, I'm going to press tab, open up this, and, oh, I need more plant fibers. There we go. Tab again. There, stone axes at the top. So I'm going to craft that. Now I have that. Now, I'm going to go through all of these, and once I've actually completed them, I'm going to come back and we'll proceed from there. One thing I should also note first is the fact that when you first log into the game for the very first time in a world, you are in a safe zone. So you'll note there are no zombies in my immediate vicinity. The safe zone only extends about 30 meters from where you spawn. If you travel farther than that, the safe zone will end and the game will begin to generate zombies naturally as they do in the world. Zombies in the woods are generally pretty rare. They are always there, but they're not like every 5 feet or 5 meters. In cities, the number of zombies you encounter increase dramatically. So be aware of that. Now I'm going to proceed with this, and I'll see you in a moment. And welcome back. So I have made my way to the trader. This is Trader Joel's sign here, but it's actually potentially a different trader inside. You can see outside is a zombie there, and there's another one I believe walking over there. They're all around me as I am on the edge of a city. There's a rabbit. So I'm going to go and fight this guy. You can see he's walking very slowly. Only takes 2 power attacks, which is the right button. So I have a regular attack and a power attack. It chews up a lot of stamina to use the power attacks, however. So I'm going to press E on this door twice so that it opens and closes behind me. Ordinarily it would only open once. Now once you find the trader, you may see things inside you want, like a tree to cut down and that. Unfortunately, everything inside the trader is invulnerable. So you can't break anything, you can't harvest anything. However, you can open up things you find and search for items that you might find useful. So that is one thing you should do as soon as you get to the trader, is see if he has any items at all that you can potentially acquire. Take the stones. He does usually have a working fire pit, so you can cook stuff here immediately. However, a lot of recipes are locked and will require one of these 3 items in order to actually function. Don't forget, this is trash. There's a lot of good things in trash. Glue is especially useful, so don't ignore such things. You can pick them up. I'm leaving it here because it'll always be here. The shelves in here can be searched as well, and you can find some really useful items. Steel tool parts is actually a fantastic game. I really need to find. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can get in here. And of course, this is the trader himself, whom you can speak with. And you can look at his inventory. I don't have any means of buying any of this stuff, but he does have a lot, and there's a quick way to organize things so you can see what he has that's worth acquiring in each category. And these categories all vary greatly. There are multiple traders. Every trader will have something slightly different. They all have a secret stash, and the secret stash, it's usually just a mishmash of all kinds of items. It isn't necessarily super rare items, but sometimes there are very good items. You'll notice up at the top here it says restock day 4. That means on day 4 he's going to completely change what his items are for
They
sale.
seeing you.
I can also steal from his rack here, and I'm going to steal the padded hood, and the bookcase here happens to be full, and there's a schematic and a book there. Now, armor is definitely important in this game. If you look right here, I made myself my plant fiber clothing. There are more plant fiber clothes you can make, arms and shoes and a plant fiber hat and even, fists, gloves. All they do is provide a weather protection. However, Until you hit level 6, you are completely protected from the weather, so they're kind of pointless. Armor, on the other hand, is extremely important. To make this cloth or padded armor, all you need is cloth fragments and duct tape. So if I go to crafting, and I look at clothing, and I go on, say, a padded chest armor, all I need are 5 pieces of cloth and 1 duct tape. And that'll instantly get me some armor. Now that'll be a level 1 armor. This is quality 2. The quality affects both the durability and the actual stats that it has. The higher the quality, the better all of its stats. So I'm going to wear this. Now when you look at the batter up volume here, batter up, knock the ball out of the park with this technique, do 10% more damage with clubs. Since I'm using a club, that's an amazing thing to have, and if I click on skills here, and I'm going to go through the skill tree in a moment, the Perk Books here has a list of all the different books in the game that you can find and read, as well as a breakdown of what all of those books do. And you get a bonus if you read all of the books of a single title. So books are very useful in the game. You don't necessarily need to read every single book. However, once you find a weapon that you like, if it has an associated book, it's really, really useful to read all of those books. It'll improve the weapon. It'll improve your ability to create ammunition for that weapon. You get special bonuses. There are also books that help, practically speaking, like the mining books. They generally help if you're going to be a builder who creates a large base. These are going to help you get those raw materials quicker and easier. Now, once I completed that very first quest, I now have 4 skill points, and there are multiple options for those skill points. There are debates amongst a lot of players about what the very first thing you should do with your skill points are. And I personally am a little outside the norm. I think that the first thing I'm going to do with my skill points is improve my ability to create damage. So I want to be able to kill the zombies easier. So I'm going to look at strength, and I'm going to look at pummel Pete. This is clubs. This is specializing in the wooden clubs, baseball bats, and later in the game, steel clubs. I'm using clubs. I personally really like clubs, so I find putting points in this earlier allows me to craft better quality clubs, which will deal more damage and allow me to defend myself better. There are people who will say Sexual Tyrannosaurus is the best stat for early game because it does allow you to save on stamina, which means you can swing your club more times. So it's kind of a trade-off. Do I want to do more damage per swing, or do I want to be able to swing the club more often? Sexual Tyrannosaurus, however, also applies to your tools. So using your axe, using a shovel, using a pickaxe, all of these things, even using a wrench, apply to Sexual Tyrannosaurus. So there is definitely an argument to getting the bench warmer and athlete first thing can be good. It's a personal preference. There are people who say the best thing to get in the game is Miner 69er and strength because you're using an axe. It's a tool. You're always going to want to use that tool. It improves all of the other tools you're using, and it doubles as a weapon. So you can use your axe as a weapon, and thereby you don't have to have your split between your Pummel Pete and your Miner 69. You can put all your points into a single stat. So, again, there are arguments for anything. Find what works for you. Don't simply do what everybody else says to do. So now I'm going to look and see what I can craft as far as weapons. I can make a new level 3 club, so I'm going to craft that right away. And if you look at the club, right, this club, 27 power attack. This club is doing 30, so this is a much better club. So I'm going to scrap it, and that gives me more wood, which is what I use to repair the club. Now your day 1, that's half the day basically, just getting here, spending your skill points.
Feel free to look around.
What I recommend doing is taking a quick look around your vicinity. You could quest on day 1. I personally don't think a new player should do a quest on day 1. I think they're better off exploring the map, learning what's out there, seeing what zombies are. See that? I one-shotted him as opposed to taking 2 hits. Let's see how this guy goes down. So still took 2 hits, but he's a stronger zombie. Now, zombies' health or hit points is random, so just because I fight 2 zombies the exact same appearance doesn't mean they're going to have the exact same health. That is something to keep in mind. So I'm going to take a walk around and see. These POIs, you can enter all of them, of course, and this particular one right here is pretty good for a starter base, but I'm also going to examine what else is around. Now, this particular map is proven to be extremely unique. It is an 8K map, so it's 8 kilometers in all directions. However, I have managed to locate 3 different biomes in a very short period of time. So making sure my vicinity is safe for the moment, so the rabbit moved there. So if I press M and bring up my map, I can zoom out. And you see back here where that bed roll is? That's where I placed my bed roll. I should have picked it up and brought it with me, but I left it there because I wanted to mark my starting area. Specifically because right over here was the wasteland biome, and right now I can see the desert biome is just over there. So this particular spawn is actually really, really good. The reasons why is because you can find things in different biomes that can be very useful. Your looting varies in different biomes. So if I stand up top here and I press B to look at my character, if I click up here where it says core character stats, at the very bottom you'll see my loot stage is just 1. That is what determines the quality and sometimes quantity of loot. However, if I run into the desert and check that stat, you'll also note these are iron nodes. These are where I can mine iron. Now, I don't want to go too far into the desert because it is a more dangerous biome. There are more dangerous zombies out here, and birds, dogs, and such that I'm not quite ready to deal with. However, you can see my loot stage went up to 11 just by coming into this location. And again, another, slight caveat, I am using a very poor computer, so it doesn't look like anything's rendering in the distance. That doesn't mean there isn't plenty to be seen in the distance. Always checking to see that there's nothing coming up behind me first. I'll open the map. I'll zoom back in and you can see there's this yellow speaking icon. That always shows up as trader. So if I walk through and just open the map randomly and saw that icon in a city, I would know I had found a trader. So I'm going to go to quick waypoint, save waypoint. And then I'm going to pick an icon. This is the icon most people associate with the traders. It's just becoming very common practice, so I'm going to say trader. You could type in Trader Joe, Trader Bob, Trader Hugh, whichever name of the trader is. I personally don't, because it's not important to me. I could go back and remark spawn, but because I left a bed there, I don't have to. However, if I create a new bedroll, that bedroll will disappear. So I'm going to do that actually. Oh, have to go over here. The trader's invulnerability does extend beyond its walls. So I'm going to click building. It's not there, so basics. There's the bedroll. I need more plant fibers. Didn't get any plant fibers from these. There we go. For some reason, using the club didn't generate them. It should have. That's possibly a small bug. So if I place that bedroll down, as soon as I open my map, the bedroll over here is gone. So I'm going to click save waypoint, and I'm just going to mark it with an X and call it spawn. So my bedroll's here now, so if I die, this is where I will respawn. So I am going to check and see how many arrows. I only have 2 arrows, so I'm going to make myself some more arrows because I want to be able to stealthily kill the targets inside this POI because I'm going to make this my temporary base. So I'm going to, using crouch, which is another hotkey, I can crouch down, and it's a toggle, so you toggle it on and off. I'm going to aim, and I'm going to kill the bird. So I can see him there. I'm going to try and hit him with a bow, but it might not be possible. Slightly too high. That's one. Oh, there's another one. You can see I'm aiming high. The bow does have a bit of a drop on it. But generally, this is going to be a very nice starter base location. You'll note there's a light sitting there. That light is actually going to be my main source of light throughout this base. These can be removed as well, and they'll give me iron, but they make a little more noise. You can see on the bottom left there that little eye icon with the yellow bar that goes up as I make noise. That is my stealth indicator. It isn't 100% accurate, so just because it's below 100 does not mean that zombies cannot hear me. Oh, also, my durability is run out on my axe, so I'm going to have to click on it. I'm going to want to repair it. The axe repairs with stone, so you see a stone drop down by 1. The club repairs with wood, so you see from 19 wood drops to 18. The bow will also repair with wood. The bone knife will repair with bone. So that's basically everything you should know about the first day of the game. Again, I could have taken a quest, and it might have given me this POI as a quest location. Also, if I click on this, it will open this door. It will not unlock the door. So be advised, while that is a potential way to... seeds are nice one. It's a potential way to get out if I want to get out in a quick. I won't be able to close that door again if I open it. So what I may do is I may break that door and replace it with my own door, because currently my only other way out is to pillar up, and to pillar up I will have to create frames. Now if you listen carefully, you can actually hear zombies outside of this place. I can't see them because I don't have any open windows, but they're out there. If I make too much noise, they will try to get in here and kill me. So I'm trying to be cautious, trying to make as little noise as possible, removing things that could alert them to my presence. I can pick up some furniture and then scrap that in my inventory to get more wood. You can hear more and more things out here. A lot of things like cupboards have useful items in it. Stoves often have useful things. There's some food and a crate here. Let's see what it has. Ah, it has a bandage and a better bow. So I can scrap the bow. And when I scrap the bow, it should have returned an arrow had it had an arrow knocked. There's some shotgun ammo. Now, weapons in this game are actually a lot easier to acquire now because they've made some updates. So, if I go into crafting and weapons, if I decide I want to make a pipe shotgun, what do I need? I need 2 glue. I know I left 1 glue back at the trader, so I just need to make another glue. How do I make glue? Well, if I type in glue, I can make it with supercorn, I can make it with bone, and I can even do it at a campfire. So you'll notice it takes more bone to do it at a campfire. So I'd have to go out and kill some small animals or harvest some corpses. Also murky water. I can find murky water in a number of different locations. Often bathtubs, toilets, they'll have murky water in it. Sometimes these cupboards will have murky water. Or if I have empty jars, I can simply get the murky water by approaching any pond, puddle, lake, river. I can get more pipes by hitting the old sink here with my axe. And if I go over here, and I am staying constantly stealth so as not to attract unwanted attention. I should probably go outside and kill that particular zombie. Oh, there we go. There's my murky water. But for now, I'm content to leave him be. I can break these down for cloths. So yeah, so here's my day one. I could set up on the roof, or I could stay down here. I know that the roof access is something zombies can pass through, so I might want to close and seal off either that hole or just this door, so that if zombies do go up on the roof, they have to break through that door to get to me. But this is where I'm going to call it for day one. You can hear the crickets chirping in the background, and the time is pushing, 2000. Night begins at 2200, so I do technically have some time. I could run over to the trader and I could pick up a quest so that I could do a quest first thing tomorrow morning. And that is probably what I'm going to do, so I can show you questing. So the first day, while I don't recommend you actually do a quest, it is an option. You can do so if you choose to do so. A quest would give you an excuse to clear a POI or a building to make a base out of. However, you would have to pick whichever POI the quest giver gave you. It would be more dangerous usually, but not always. Yeah, so that's the day one. I hope this